Hello, welcome back to our channel. This video is a continuation of the previous video, which is about the wives of the Prophet Muhammad. This video is about the next 7 wives of the Prophet Muhammad after the 6 wives in the previous video. Prophet Muhammad's 7th wife is Zainab bint Jahsh. Before marrying the Prophet Muhammad, Zainab bint Jahsh married Zaid bin Haritha, the adopted daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. Zainab bint Jahsh herself was the daughter of Aminah bint Abdul Muttalib, the aunt of Prophet Muhammad. Apart from being the adopted son of the Prophet Muhammad, Zaid bin Haritha was a slave. Zaid bin Haritha and Zainab bint Jahsh's relationship did not last long because of their disharmony. Prophet Muhammad advised Zaid not to divorce her, but in the end Zaid did. The Prophet Muhammad married Zainab after his iddah ended. Zainab bint Jahsh is a unique woman because she is diligent in worship and loves to give alms. During the reign of Caliph Umar bin Khattab, he died at the age of 53. In Arab norms at that time, it was immoral for an adoptive father to marry the ex-wife of his own adopted son. But this was straightened out by Allah by marrying the Prophet Muhammad to Zainab, and lowering Surah Al-Ahzab verse 37. And, remember, when you, Muhammad, say to a person who has been given favors by Allah and you, also, have given favors to him, keep your wife and fear Allah, while you hide in your heart what will be revealed by Allah, and you are afraid of humans, but Allah has more right for you to fear. So when Zaid had ended the need for his wife, divorcing her, we married you to her, Zainab, so that there would be no objection for the believers to marry the wives of their adopted children, if the adopted children had fulfilled their needs for his wife. And God's decree is sure to happen. Rihana bint Zaid bin Amr. Rihana came from Bani Nadhir, who later married Bani Qurayza. The Prophet Muhammad once declared that he would expel all Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula, leaving only Muslims in it. The Prophet Muhammad received an order from the Archangel Gabriel to attack the Bani Qurayza after the Battle of the Khandaq. After defeating the tribe, he ordered that all the men of Banu Qurayza be killed. The Prophet Muhammad distributed their wealth, women, and children among the Muslims, and some of the female captives were sent to Najd in exchange for weapons and horses. As stated in the Qur'an, Prophet Muhammad took 1/5 of the booty and kept Rihana for himself. Let me remain under your control, because it is easier for me and for you, Rihana said when the Prophet Muhammad offered to marry her and wear the hijab. The Prophet Muhammad then left him. When captured by Muslims, Rihana showed her hatred of Islam and still adhered to Judaism. After hearing sandals from behind, Muhammad said, "This must be Thalaba bin Saya who has come to bring the good news that Rihana has embraced Islam." Besides, what Muhammad said was true, which pleased him. Juwayriya bint al-Harith. Juwayriya was previously a prisoner belonging to the Prophet Muhammad from the Bani Mustalik tribe whom he attacked without warning. Her real name was Bara, but the Prophet Muhammad changed it to Juwayriya. She was the daughter of a Banu Mustalik official, and she had married Muzafi bin Shafwan before marrying the Prophet Muhammad. Prior to this, he had also been a slave to Thibit bin Qais, who was willing to let him go on condition that Juwayriya paid sufficient money. As a result, Juwayriya then asked the Prophet Muhammad for help. He helped her and even married her with a dowry for her release. After the news spread that the Prophet Muhammad married Juwayriya, many companions freed the captives of Bani Mustalik as a tribute. Ramla bint Abu Sufyan, Habiba. Ramla was the son of a Quraysh leader and trader named Abu Sufyan, who often led large trade caravans to and from Sham. However, he became one of the Prophet Muhammad's early opponents as he was frequently intercepted and plundered by the troops he sent. Ramla, unlike his father, had received guidance from Islam since the beginning of the Prophet Muhammad's ministry. She and her husband, Ubaydallah bin Jahsh, emigrated to a Christian kingdom in Habasaya in 615 AD. Her husband Ramla converted to Christianity and died there. The Prophet Muhammad sent a letter of application to Ramla, who was still at Habasaya, after his iddah ended. In addition, the Christian king Najashi congratulated him and gave gifts of 400 dinars, gold coins, and the best perfume. After returning to the Hijaz and then migrating to Medina, Ramla told the Prophet Muhammad about everything he had seen at Habasaya, including how he liked the churches decorated with pictures. They are people who, when a pious among them dies, they build a place of worship in his grave and make a picture in it, said the Prophet Muhammad, lifting his head. In the eyes of Allah, they are the worst creatures. Safiyya bint Huyayy. Prophet Muhammad's wife, Safiyya bint Huyayy, was from the Banu Nadir. Prior to this, Safiyya was married to Salam bin Masikam. Despite this, the marriage ended in divorce. After that, Safiyya married Kinana bin Abi Hakik. After breaking the agreement with the Muslims, Kinana bin Abi Hakik then died. At that time, Khaybar was the big city where Bani Nadir lived. Prophet Muhammad wanted more people to embrace Islam, and one of the goals he did was the Bani Nadir in Khaybar. The Muslims won the war. But Safiyya bint Huyayy's husband was killed. The victory resulted in a lot of spoils of war and prisoners. At first, Safiyya almost became Daya al-Kalbi's slave, but the Prophet Muhammad saved them. At that time, he made offers to stay with Judaism or convert to Islam. It seems that Safiyya chose to become a Muslim so that she could marry the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet Muhammad called Safiyya a Siddiqa woman, which means an honest woman. Maymunah bint al-Harith. Maymunah's real name was Bara. But the Prophet Muhammad changed it to Maymunah, which means good news. Maymunah came from the Banu Hilal bourgeois clan. His sister, Lubaba, married Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, who was one of the wealthiest people from the Banu Hashim, who later became Maymunah's regent. Maymunah bint al-Harith was originally the wife of Mas'udi bin Amr at-Saqafi, but due to differences in beliefs, they divorced. While her husband was against Islam, Maymunah bint al-Harith embraced him. Khalid bin Walid and Ibn Abbas were Maymunah's uncles. He professed Islam, but kept it hidden and remained in Mecca. However, he expressed this when the Hudaybiyah agreement took place and the Muslims performed the pilgrimage. Her desire to join the Prophet Muhammad and his companions made her marry him for a dowry of 400 dirhams. Maymunah is known as a kind-hearted woman. He once owned a slave girl whom he later freed without the permission of the Prophet Muhammad. During his turn with Muhammad, he also told what he had done. Prophet Muhammad also said to Maymunah that instead of freeing her, Maymunah would get a bigger reward if she gave the slave to one of her maternal uncles. Mariyah bint Siaman. The ruler of Egypt, Makakaz, sent a slave girl named Mariyah al-Qibtiyya to the Prophet Muhammad as a gift. She is beautiful and white. In one of the volumes of his chronicle, Tabari mentions that one of the Prophet Muhammad's wives was Mariyah. The Prophet married Mariyah al-Qibtiyya. The Prophet Muhammad did not distinguish Mariyah from the other wives even though she was his slave before. Next to the mosque, Haritza bin Nu'man's house is where Mariyah is stationed. In addition, Mariyah became the mother of believers, or Ummul believers. Mariyah gave birth to a baby boy in the month of Dhul-Hijjah, the 8th year of Hijrah. Mariyah became completely free as a slave when she had children. The Medina community welcomed this baby from Mariyah. Prophet Muhammad's son was named Ibrahim bin Muhammad. Ibrahim became ill at the age of 19 months. The Prophet Muhammad and Mariyah grieved over this situation. The Prophet Muhammad, who was accompanied by Abdurrahman bin Auf, wept. Little Ibrahim died of his will because his condition was getting worse. Thus, we have seen a brief video about the wives of the Prophet Muhammad, totaling 13 people. Hopefully useful and can add to our scientific insights. Thank you for watching.